Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. My goodness, it's been a while since I've been live with you all. So I'm really happy that you're able to join me. This is going to be great half hour so we can chat about productivity for public health entrepreneurs. So if you're not an entrepreneur, but you're in public health and you're thinking about consulting, no matter where you're working, I think you can still apply some of these tips into what you're doing. But I'm really talking to those entrepreneurs, consultants, freelancers, whatever you call yourself. I'm actually going to be sharing with you live in this broadcast, but I'm hoping the audio quality will be great and I can also use this on the podcast as well. So I've got notes in front of me so that I can stay on track. Let me start by introducing myself, just in case you're not familiar with who I am, or just to reintroduce myself. It's great to meet you. If I have not met you before, please chat in the comments, say hello, let me know where you're joining from. I'm Dr. Charlotte Huntley. I'm a public health entrepreneur, and I support other public health consultants and entrepreneurs who are starting businesses and growing businesses that they've already started. And I also provide support to health focused organizations who are looking to maybe connect the dots with public health and amplify their messaging and maybe even sprinkle in a little bit of epidemiology in there. So if you're looking to think outside the box, integrate more public health, and you're on the creative side of things, then message me because I'd definitely love to chat with you a little bit more. But today I'm going to be talking about productivity. And I want to share three things, and you're going to know in a little while why I limit it to three. But it's also a part of my own productivity hack. But three productivity tips for public health entrepreneurs for 2022. And I like to date that just because who knows, we'll be watching this again in the future going, that's not even relevant right now. There's a better way to do it. But this is just to date it for where we are right now. Um, I want to just start out with a little bit of for the record, this is going to be very casual, simple. I like simple whenever possible, but also it's going to be very powerful. So you can take one little thing away from what I share, or you can take notes and use all three. It'll be really up to you, but it's designed to help you and to kind of put things into context and not be overwhelming because we all, I think, have a tendency to gravitate to the overwhelm. So, as we kick off the new year, everyone gets really excited, myself included, about the new goals, the refreshing start, the feel of, jumping into new activities and new projects. And so we've got a lot of people who are really energized and focused, really focused and really driven. You are inspired with this new start of the year and all the projects that you are, planning and things that you're looking forward to. But we also have a good group of people who are feeling drained and unsure and still tired. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that too. And just unmotivated. And I understand both sides. And a lot of us really can have a mix of the two. We can be really excited, but also feel a little drained. And myself, I spend the last quarter of the year, every year, planning out what I'm going to do for the next year. So I can often start out the new year with clear vision and I'm ready to go, but I'm also a little drained because I've been working on it for a while before the new year kicks in. So if you're feeling more one or the other or a mixture, I understand. That's a lot of the reason why I'm showing up to talk about this right now. So if you're a note taker and you're able to take notes, you might want to. It might be worth it. But if you're not, no worries. Just kind of follow along. Like I said, it's going to be simple, but kind of impactful, hopefully. And as usual, when I come on live on LinkedIn, I like to spend about 30 minutes or less. So I think of it as, maybe you're joining me for coffee or you're having lunch, sharing your lunch break with me, or you're watching this and you're scrolling through, you saw it. I don't want you to feel like it's overwhelming, going to take a lot of your time. I typically like to keep 30 minutes or less when I'm live so that it's not consuming a lot of your day, a lot of your time. So I'll watch my clock and I'll watch my notes to kind of stay on track. So how many of you work about a typical type of schedule. You'll work about 50 weeks out of the year on point, working hard, doing the things, and then you take those last 2 weeks of the year off to just decompress for the holidays and you're resting. So we hustle, 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 and we get to that last part of the year and take 2 weeks off and just relax. I've done that for years. I used to do it, especially when my kids were younger. It made sense because they were out of school and we would plan our activities around that. But now it just doesn't work for me. I find that I've moved away from it over, and I can say in recent years, but it just no longer served my style. I mean, at this stage of the game, if I take off a block of time like that, it takes almost a week for me to just decompress and start to unwind and for my body to realize that, oh, we're taking a rest break. And then by that point, that leaves a week to then have fun. I'm using air quotes. Um, and then prepare to, jump back into whatever the routine is. So the 2 weeks off can fly by. And if you start off this year feeling that, if that was how you did 2021 and you start out the new year feeling kind of tired and maybe that was your pattern, I mean, I see why that's really hard to pack a year's worth of rest into just 2 weeks. So, like I said, I've done it. I did it for a lot of years, but kind of moved away from it. And let me just jump into my 3 tips because it'll all come together. You'll kind of understand why. I'm going to share what I do, what has worked for me, and I continue to refine it each year because it works. I get some results, it really works, and then I find a way to do it better. So, right up front, here are my 3 productivity tips for public health entrepreneurs. And this is really inspired by my coach, or I should say coaches, Natalie Ekdahl and Shelly Warren from Biz Chicks. And if you're not familiar with them, you need to check out Biz Chicks, the podcast, as well as the sister podcast, which is Stacking Your Team, and it's led by Shelly Warren. But amazing content there. But they are I've been working with Natalie specifically for almost a year now, and she is amazing. And so I thank both of them for the inspiration because I've been able to refine a lot of what worked for me and made it so much better in this last year. I'm excited about what I'm doing with it in this year moving forward. So giving them a lot of credit for their helping me refine this a whole lot. So the first tip, my first productivity tip for you is to create an ideal work plan. Just write that down and trust me on this. Create an ideal work plan. So what I mean is I'm going to ask you a few questions to help you kind of dig it out. So how do you want your ideal year to flow? Start with the bigger picture. How do you want your year to flow? Do you like working 50 weeks and then taking off for 2 weeks? If that works for you, great. Would you like to take off vacation time, like maybe once every quarter and have that as your regular flow for the year? Another, my personal favorite is take a mixture of short and long breaks throughout the year. I love that one because sometimes we can have such a refreshing start with a long weekend trip or activity and then sprinkle in some longer trips instead of waiting for the real exhausting feelings to come up and then try to plan. That just doesn't work for us. But what does your ideal year look like at a glance? Think about that. And then start give you some vision of where you'd like to be so that you start to, work to craft that. So when you think about how your ideal year, how you'd like for that to flow, then think about how do you want your ideal month to flow? And when you think about that, for myself, I have built in CEO days. And I used to do this. I didn't call it CEO days until I started working with Natalie. But I love it because as a CEO of your business, you need time as the visionary to review, are we on track? Is this business hitting the mark? Are we hitting goals? Are we moving in the direction that we, as the business is, we have these goals, and are we moving in that direction? The mission of the business, are we aligning with that mission? There's time, the CEO needs time to reflect on that. So I have regular time built in each month. That's part of the way my ideal month flows. So how do you want your ideal month to look? And then think about, how do you want your ideal week to flow? For example, do you meet with clients, say Monday through Thursday, and then you have Fridays as the day that you don't meet with clients so that you can do other tasks? Or maybe you work in your business 3 days out of the week, and then you have other days that are automatic personal days or family time. Would that be an ideal work week for you? That would be wonderful, for a lot of people, but I think we forget to give ourselves permission, and we need to understand how important it is to build in the personal days and the personal time and the family time. Um, Permission is a key phrase there, because sometimes we keep thinking that, oh, we have to stay so busy. We have all these things we have to do. But that kind of points to needing to kind of niche it down and remove some of the fluff and some of the things that we don't really have to do, keeping it, the essential items there. So you can even go further. How do you want your ideal day to look? How does your ideal day look? Do you have time for regular exercise? Do you have time for reading? Do you have time for meditation? For a lot of us, and I know I'm not the only one who does this, if it's on my calendar, it happens. I respect my calendar. So I had to put in my lunch break on my calendar. I had to put in things like, I had to really schedule my work hours. Do you have working hours for your business? This is especially important for entrepreneurs who work from home, because it's so easy to blur the lines and you just keep working, and then you just find a stopping point, and you work until you're tired and then just go to bed. You have to have working hours. And think about how your ideal day works. So I have a block of time that's for exercise so that I can get that in every day. And I have to schedule the lunch break. And I even put a rule. I have a no eating at the desk rule. I rarely break that rule. And I make exceptions if I have a full day of meeting clients and I'm in a coaching session, or say it's a meeting that I'm not leading, but I need to attend. Sometimes I will make an exception. I'll snack at my desk, but not like full lunch at my desk. That I have to leave the office, and go into some other part of the house, the dining room, the kitchen. Sometimes if the weather's nice, I'll go outside, but that helps me to separate that time out. So that's important. How do you want your ideal day to look? So creating your ideal work plan, whether, the year, the month, the week, the day, it's important. And that will help you remain productive, and it'll help you be focused. It takes a lot of stress off too. It helps you to have put more time in for yourself. And if it means like for myself, if you have to put it on your calendar to make sure that it happens, do it. Do what works. All right. So here's number 2. The second tip is to focus on what matters most each day. So this is really going to take you back to reflecting on what your goals are. And I'm very goal oriented, very goal driven. But I think that when you set your goal for the year and then you break it down, it helps you to remove a lot of stress, and it helps you to stay focused. So I teach this in my group coaching program. So I have a group coaching program where I lead a group of entrepreneurs who already are public health consultants. They're working on their businesses. And one of the areas that we work on is we set a yearly goal. What is that goal for your year? And we include the revenue goal. That's important. So what is it that you want to accomplish for the year for your business? Then we break that down into quarterly. Now, also, coaches have coaches. So I coach and I teach my group this way, but my coach also teaches in this very same way. So we're very goal oriented, and I love it because it just so aligns with me, and it really helps to stay focused. So if you know what you want to accomplish for the year, you don't want to walk around all year thinking about that one big goal for the year. You want to break it down. So what does that look like for me each quarter? What do I need to do each quarter to make sure that I'm on track for the year? And then when you take the quarter, like we're in Q1, well, let's break that down. What do I need to do each month within this quarter to reach that goal? And then you keep breaking it down. So we're in January. What does each week look like in January? What am I doing each week to make sure that I'm working toward that goal for the month? And then in each week, even breaking it down to the day, what is it that I'm doing each day to make sure that I'm on track for reaching that goal. When you break it down like that, I'm focused on what I'm doing for the day or what I need to accomplish for the week. And I'm not walking around with this big yearly goal in my head all the time. Although I do have it at a glance. I have a big calendar here and I have it easily available when I need to, reflect. And if I want to meditate on that for a while, then I can. But when I'm really into the trenches and doing the work, I'm really breaking it down and focusing on what matters most each day. And I practice this myself, and I teach this to my clients that I'm supporting, and it helps so much, especially because we are all busy with multiple responsibilities. And when we can really chunk this down into something that's manageable, it makes it so much easier for us to stay focused and aligned with our bigger goals. So, my second tip for productivity is really to focus on what matters most each day. All right. So, here's my third. This is one I feel kind of ties it up a bit too. So, the third tip is to limit your to do list. Okay, this is especially helpful for overachievers or recovering overachievers like me. Um, use a combination. I personally use a combination of digital and like physical products to help me with productivity. So, my two favorite digital productivity tools are Asana and Slack. Slack for my team. It really helps to keep us really just communication is excellent, and it integrates well with us with Asana. But Asana is my go-to for my digital productivity. So when it comes down to the tasks that need to be handled, keeping us aligned with the monthly goals, all of that is mapped out in Asana. So I know what I'm responsible for. I know what each of my team members are responsible for. And even before I've always had some sort of support from the time I've used Asana. Even if you're just solo, though, I'm just letting you know that a tool like Asana, and there are other tools similar to that, can really help you manage tasks and stay um, productive and organized. But when it comes down to your to-do list, I also really like a good planner. And this year, I usually have been able to find one that I like really well. I'm also a stickler for pens. If, for people that are listening to the podcast, you can't see, I'm holding up some of my favorite pens. I'm really motivated by the different colors, and I do whatever works. And it helps me if I'm making notes to write in different colors. It stands out, goes with my mood. And if that helps, if it helps you, do it. But here's my planner, and those that are listening to the podcast can't really see it. But for the first time, I actually customize a planner, and you can't really see the pages, but I just got it in the mail. It's customized, designed just for me. I absolutely love it because I limit myself to on the daily view. I limit myself to 3 tasks at the top of the day. So I'm going to see if you're watching this, you might be able to see. Let's see right here. There's space just for 3, and it's designed to. It helps you to really streamline and think about what is most important. So if you're like me, I would have this long to-do list of all the things I need to accomplish today. Again, air quotes, need to accomplish today. Once I really started looking at that list, and I would let myself just go ahead and write everything down. And then I have to go back and look what do I need to actually do today that aligns with the goal that helps us accomplish what this goal is for today. And then that starts, really start shortening that list. And then I started to figure out, okay, what is the single most important thing? If I could only do one, what absolutely has to happen? And then I start moving down from there. I will only allow myself 3 things on that list. The way that I have it in this new planner is those extra items can be listed at the bottom. But in terms of what I'm doing today, the 3 most important things that need to happen, it eliminates that feeling of have you ever had a long to-do list and you're really busy like all morning, and then you look at your list at lunchtime and there's like nothing that you can check off that list? That happens to me. So that used to happen to me all the time. I still have some days like that. but we can be so busy doing things that are important, but not what we need, aren't really essential for the day, or moving the task, or moving us closer to the goal. And it makes us feel defeated and just overwhelmed. And then we feel more stressed because now we've got to revisit the list. We've only got the second half of the day left to get all these things done. And it's just a vicious cycle. It keeps me on this hamster wheel of busyness that I absolutely cannot stand. So I limit myself to those three items. I love being able to check off, cross through, line out something that I've done for the day. Or even if I move those to Asana and I get an alert, and that's digitally, that's great. But I love that physical pen and paper, being able to line through and knowing that I've accomplished it, is it's powerful. So by limiting myself, I'm staying more streamlined. I'm taking pressure off of myself as well. And it has worked so extremely well for me. So limit yourself. You may find it really difficult to say just three, but that's why, going back full circle to the whole title and topic, that's why this is 3 productivity tips for public health entrepreneurs for 2022. Again, limiting myself to 3 because I could share so many, but these are the 3 that I thought would be the most impactful, the most meaningful, and are the most important and essential for me, and what I also teach to the members of my group coaching program. So that is what I have for you today. Again, the 3 productivity tips for you are: number 1, create an ideal work plan. The yearly plan, the quarterly plan, the monthly, weekly. Create your ideal work plan. Number 2, focus on what matters most each day. Don't reflect back on your goals to help you with this, to determine what matters most each day. And then number 3, limit your to-do list. You will thank me for it later. Now, as I wrap up, I appreciate your time and attention to this, and I hope that it's really been helpful. I hope that there's at least one thing that resonated with you that you could take away and apply right now. And I would love to hear from you on what that is. So if you're able to comment in the chat, if you're with me on this platform live, or if you're watching the replay, and you can comment in the chat, I'd love to come back and read. I always go back and read those comments later. You can certainly write a review. If you're listening to this in one of the podcast apps, you can certainly write a review and share what your takeaway is from this episode. I would love, love, love that. It'd be so much appreciation coming your way for whichever way you decide to share with me your takeaway. And of course, share this with a friend that you think may find it valuable as well. So I'm going to give you back the rest of your day. Thank you so much for your attention on this. It is really a lot of fun for me to share some of these things with you. And I guess the final thing is to remember, as entrepreneurs, we are designing these businesses because it's what we want to do. It's what lights us up. It's how we want to show up and serve in the world. So we are doing this out of our own free will, using our own creative instincts. And so we should be creating the ideal day that we want, the plan that we want, the way that we want to do it. And we can absolutely, and we should expect to enjoy every bit of our work day and our work week and our work month and our lives overall, not just in the business, but beyond. So on that note, until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.